Yeah, okay. Okay. My wife tells me that the truckers have arrived, starting to come into Ottawa. Fantastic. We've needed defiance of this unreasonable behavior for a long time. Now, Margaret's boy is the prime minister, but Margaret's boy is only the prime minister because of Gerald Butts. Gerald Butts, whose auntie snuck into the Senate, breaching her oath. And anyway, it's a mess, the Liberal Party. They don't know what the Constitution is. They only know their absolute power. Now, Gerald Butts came from the World Wildlife Foundation. He is a communist. He's not a greenie. He's a communist. He has filled dear sweet airhead Margaret's boy, filled with the ideas of his nirvana bullshit make-believe land that he thinks he's going to be in charge of. Okay. Margaret's boy is an idiot. He's an airhead. He knows nothing. However, he's an actor. He spouts off beautifully the lines that are written for him by ButtSvengali. Look up Svengali. That's exactly what we've got going here. Now, he ran away home to darn his socks or whatever he did. Why did he not go to Sussex Drive? Like Sussex Drive is provided for him. I know he's in the cottage of the what's name around the corner. Why did he go to his dad's place? Why didn't he stand like his dad did on the in defiance of the protesters throwing stuff in the parade on whatever day it was? You know the one. And just watch me, he says. The same CBC lily-livered liberals said, "Well, are you gonna do this if they start protesting? Are you gonna do that?" And what did he say? He said, "Just watch me." And then he pulled the stunt with the War Measures Act. Now, the War Measures Act is pablum compared to this Emergencies Act. They pulled it on us already in bits and pieces, bits downloaded to the provinces, the province downloaded to the business. All the ugly stuff, somebody else gets to do. Defiance. Defy wrongdoing. Defy wrongdoing. Just look at what you want. And if what you want is right, if you've got clean hands, if you've got a clean heart, demand what you want. You'll be surprised how many allies you have who are no longer getting the free money, CRB, CERB. They don't want it to continue any longer. If they start reading the reports from the non-mainstream media that this COVID was an invention and it was a cold and was like a flu, and if you didn't have a pre-existing respiratory condition, it was very survivable. 99 point something other percent. I'm no doctor. I only read reports that I read, but I read so many of them that I realize that there's many a big lie that's been said many times and become thought of as true. So who am I? I'm nobody. But I'm going to tell you now something that will change your life politically if you know what I'm talking about. An order in council was initiated during March of 1940. Now, this is in the Second World War. Before it really got going, but after Britain was being attacked, and after Hitler had already taken over a few countries, and after everybody's is he good guy or bad guy was being understood that maybe he's not a good guy, that the totalitarianism that he was presenting wouldn't work here, and we wouldn't want it to work here, and the very chance that he might succeed was something to oppose. Now, William Lyon Mackenzie King was the prime minister, and he was still pissed off in 1940. Then in 1926, he was denied a dissolution by the Governor General, Lord Byng. Remember the King Byng affair from grade 10? Well, I never told you about it. But the King Byng affair was when the Governor General was actually the Queen's representative and had final just say no, no appeal, nothing. Anyway, King didn't like it. He appealed to London. London says, no, he's right. So they forced election, everything messed around. But in 1940, 14 years later, All of a sudden, January the 1st, retirement of the clerk of the Privy Council. So there's nobody there with an institutional memory. And surprising everybody, in February, shaving, the then Governor General, Tweedsmuir, I believe, falls over, heart attack, died shaving. For a month, and nobody knows what's going on. No. On March the 25th, I believe, an order in council was approved, drafted by William Lyon Mackenzie King, who appointed his buddy, Danbury, to be the new clerk of the Privy Council and simultaneously to be secretary to the cabinet. Now, this is called Order in Council 1940, PC, Privy Council 1940, that's the year, -1121. Now, you cannot find it in the archives of Canada because they buried it. This is the reference authorizing legislation for the clerk of the Privy Council, for his office, his joint office, because he's the only office that is within the executive and within the legislative. And that is impossible. That is anti-BNA. That is how William Lyon Mackenzie King and every prime minister since then has stolen the country from you. If you can get a majority in the lower house, you know that the upper house is a bunch of political hacks. They'll do whatever they say, what the other guy says, whatever. And the opposition is not going to be too much opposition because they're just waiting for their turn to come in and do exactly the same thing. Then there's nobody to say no to, as you've seen. Now, that was done in a war. Okay? Huge, wonderful things were done during the war in Canada to really form Canada. First World War was the start of it. Second World War, mobilization, St. Lawrence Seaway was developed, CBC was developed, all by nationalizing of resources that were privately owned by, the same acting for the crown. So now I've told you what it is. What we need to do is elect the Governor General. Since 1982, a lot of things have changed, except they never said what they didn't do. They never patriated sovereignty. They never took, placed, replaced, restored sovereignty in Canada. They left it with the Queen as a person. The Privy Council and the Lords Temporal and Spiritual of the United Kingdom bowed out with that 1982 United Kingdom Canada Act. Since then, the Governor General has represented the Queen and has represented the Queen as an individual, him. Now that's Section 12. Read Section 12 of your BNA 1867, and then contrast that with Section 13, where it talks about the Governor General in Council. And then there's the same kind of thing for Lieutenant Governor in Council. And then look into Section 56, 57, 58, and 90, where it talks about reservation and disallowance, where the provinces are completely subservient to the federal government because the federal government, Governor General in Council, can disallow any bill that any province does. Now, last time they did it was with in Alberta when they disallowed the Social Credit Act, which is how Aberhart got elected, saying he's going to give everybody $25, which in today's money is probably like 500. So this is a wonderful day. The truckers have shown you that you can be in control of the country. You can do whatever you want if you have a clean heart and clean hands. There's nothing to stop you except your own TV, inertia, lack of information. So that should be long enough. Thanks a lot.